Yeah. Little newt. There's been a lot of these little guys with all the rain we're getting. Come on, get out of the trail. You're going to get squished. There you go. I'm trekking out back. I'm going to get my weed whacker. I've been blazing trails on the new property, and I ran out of gas with the weed whacker the other day, and I left it there with the intention of coming back out and doing some more. It's been sitting out there in the rain. Getting a little break in the weather here for a minute, and I'm going to walk out back and get it. And I thought I'd take you along, show you my trail that I'm making. Oh, look at this. Mushrooms here. Those look a lot like oyster mushrooms, but I really don't believe they are. I got to look a little bit deeper into the lookalikes. Now, see? Getting this blaze through here pretty good. Then I'll take my markers down afterwards. I've always loved doing this. It's really hard work. Picking up everything and all the tangles and stuff to deal with. But I enjoy the heck out of it. Right up until I get into some yellow jackets. Then I don't enjoy it so much. Look at those, huh? Whole bunch more over here. They're pretty, but I wouldn't eat them. I like woods like this. All mossy, a lot of spruce. There's my tree stand. Still got some work to do on this one. There's some chaga. Right there, some chaga. Yeah, I put this stand up last year, but I got quite a bit of cutting to do for bow hunting. It's a little tight there. Got to get my little pole saw back here and got to do it soon. Yeah. It's a nice location. In fact, I got my very first deer ever in 1984 right in this area here. Yeah. Yep. Got back to the camp, and we opened up a bottle of champagne, me and my dad, my uncle, my cousin. That was my first year living in my cabin, had my first deer, everything was falling into play. Yeah. A lot of memories out here, man. Well, I can't help but reminiscing when I'm out in these woods. Hunting with my dad. He'd be in one spot, I'd circle up over the hill. Yeah, the good old days. These woods have fed me well over the years. Hopefully they'll continue to do so. Ants have been climbing the pole and going over here and down to the hummingbird feeder to get the sweet water there. And I got to put a little ant moat on the cable, which I haven't done yet. So I made this little thing here. I'll show you. When I was talking about the house flies in one of my Q&As, one of my friends recommended that you take a soda bottle, you cut it, and you put the top inverted, and you put a piece of meat or something in there, and the flies go in, and they get trapped. So I use the same principle here for the ants, and it worked out slick. So all I did was cut the bottle, okay, put a little sugar water in there, made a little funnel, a little cone, I necked it down a little bit, and just set it right there with a space so they can't get up inside. So they climb down in it, and then they jump into the sugar water, and they're done. Huh? pretty simple, but it worked awesome. So look at all the ants in this thing. Now this is the second go round with it. Okay, we already dumped it out once. It was full of ants just like this. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Worked out slick. Yeah. So I got to make something a little bit more permanent, and then put some ant moats on hummingbird feeders. Keep the ants right out of it. Yeah. Holy moly, huh? Look at the freaking ants. Yeah. That worked awesome. Now I've put this back up. This is about a week later. Look at all the ants that are in it. There's 5 right there waiting to go swimming. Now they're in the drink. Works perfect. This is next year's firewood. Doing a separate stack here. I've got this old stump that's right in my way, but looks like I should be able to come out without too much trouble. Maybe if I hit it. You work that side, I'll work this side. Get it. Good boy, what a helper. We did it, Frankie. I just got bit by a mosquito, and I want to get it on Facebook. One bit me yesterday, and it itched all night. I was on Twitter all night. Alrighty, enough foolishness. Let's get right to the questions. What are your favorite brand of nail guns? I always used Boss Stitch nail guns, and I did so for years, and they were great. But they must be making them cheaper with cheaper components, because the last 2 Boss Stitch guns that I have bought have failed me. And one of them, it was in a year's time, okay? And not used every day. It was just used on my projects up here. They were well cared for, and they were oiled all the time. So I ended up switching over to the rigid nail gun. Now I know some of you guys are going to throw all kinds of jokes about my rigid tool, because you always poke fun whenever you can. Some of you guys are pretty funny. But anyway, seriously, so far I've been very, very impressed with this nail gun. What made me buy that one was way back when I did the siding on the homestead, which was, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I bought this little guy, this little rigid narrow crown stapler. I used the heck out of it. Never failed me. Heck of a nice unit. Whoever designs the rigid nail guns or the other rigid tools must be a carpenter, because they are no nonsense tools. So then when I wanted to replace my skill saw, I bought this rigid brand skill saw. This is the nicest skill saw I've ever had. Heavy duty, just fantastic. And look at the length of the cord they give you. All right, heavy duty cord too. I'll put the tools that I have in the description below. That way you can check all the specs and all that stuff if you want to. All right.
Do I ever use walkie-talkies at all? Yes, I do. Quite often, actually. When I used to hunt with my cousin, we used to hunt a lot back in the day. We each had these Motorola Talkabout walkie-talkies. These things, they're really great. They're fantastic. They take 3 AAA, AA batteries. Now they have them now with rechargeable ones, but I prefer to have the ones that I can replace the battery. When we'd be, one guy'd be up on the ridge, one guy'd be down in the valley, we jump a deer or whatever, we could radio each other. Well, Lori and I use these all the time. Like when we go out kayaking, we're out on the lake, she just likes to paddle around. Well, I'm paddling around, but I like to fish. Maybe I'll see a trout rise and I get hung up and I'm fishing. She doesn't like to hang around. So we each have one of these in our kayak. And I can do my thing and she can do hers. And then when I want to meet up, I'll just go, hey, where are you? You know, and we'll meet up. And I'm going to paddle all over the lake or yell like an idiot. Fantastic. Very handy thing to have. Sometimes when we're driving to New York and we take both vehicles, we just have these on. They go, hey, I got to pee. I'm going to pull off at the next rest stop. You know, real quick. It's not like trying to text or use your cell phone. We buy and sell a lot of property, and we're always out there doing checking and finding and measuring for property lines, marking boundaries, that sort of thing. And instead of yelling back and forth, we use the walkie-talkies.
Go to your left a little bit. Your other left.
I thought you meant your left.
I said your left.
I'll put the ones I use in the description below, but they've changed a lot in appearance since I bought these, because these are probably 12 years old. What is the most dangerous animal in your woods? The only ones that I am really concerned about is an animal acting out of character. And what I mean by that is like foxes, coyotes, raccoons, things like that. You mostly see them at night. They will run away the second they see you. So if you have a raccoon or a fox or a coyote in your yard, not afraid of you, acting totally out of character, chances are it's probably sick. And an animal with rabies will be like that. They will act out of character, and they're very, very dangerous because they're not afraid of you. And if you get bit by an animal with rabies, you will have rabies, okay? So you want to stay clear of that. If you see an animal like a raccoon out in your yard at daytime, coming up on your porch, that kind of thing, that is an animal to fear. I know you're probably thinking I was going to say a moose or a bear, and they are the most dangerous animals in the woods to a sense. That's if they're provoked, but we see moose and bears all the time out here and really of no concern. Although, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, I did have an incident with a bear. I had a bear within about 8 yards of me, acting totally out of character, although I never felt threatened at all. I was out there making trails. I was clearing up an old trail. I had just a handsaw, big old buck saw, and a pair of loppers with me. But I was making a racket. I was out there grooming one of the old trails, picking up a lot of fallen stuff, tree tops, dragging them, making a racket. I happen to turn around and I see something black coming right down the trail that I just cleared, with its head down in the ferns. And the ferns grow pretty tall out here. At first I thought it was Frankie, but then I realized it wasn't Frankie, okay? As sometimes Lori will come out looking for me and bring Frankie, and that's just what Frankie will do, will track my scent. Now a bear will run at human scent, doesn't want anything to do with human beings, so why on earth this bear was actually tracking me? He had his head down in the ferns, coming right down the trail that I have been clearing. I don't know why he was doing that. I don't think he was coming after me for any reason. I have no clue why he was trailing me. But anyway, that's exactly what he was doing. He's coming down the trail. And when I realized it was a bear, I just started banging my loppers against my saw, making that metallic noise, talking really loud. I didn't turn and run. I never felt threatened whatsoever. It was just a fluke. But he got about 8 yards from me before he picked his head up, realized he was coming right towards me. He turned around, but he never really ran away. He just kind of loped away. That was a very, very strange situation. But I never felt threatened by it. But anyway, so an animal acting out of character is really the only animals to fear out here. All right, one more question. I know sometimes people ask me questions just to mess around, like this one here. That old question we probably all heard before. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, will it make a sound? Well, if it slaps you in the face on the way down and no one sees it hit you, will it hurt? You tell them, Frankie. So that's it for now, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. All the best to you, and God bless.
Frankie and the boss out walking in the woods, living life happy and free. Tracks in the snow everywhere they go. There's a porky way up in that tree. A beaver built a pond where they have some fun, taking life a day at a time. Best friends until the end. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss.